Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to this installment of Sedaru live webinar. Today we'll be talking about 811. We're going to be doing an automate 811 dig tickets, including positive response with Sedaru for today. My name is Dylan McFeetris, and I'm the product marketing manager at Sedaru. And with me today, I have Kevin Koshko, our chief product officer. He'll be doing our demo a little later and chiming in a lot here on the 811 topic. Really appreciate you guys all joining us today. As usual, we're going to talk real briefly about our social media presence. The YouTube channel listed here is where these webinar recordings are placed for you guys to access them at any time. You can also follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter if you're interested in finding out about the next topics for our webinars and other interesting information about our organization and how things are going. As usual, for the session topic for today, we like to frame it a little bit here with our drops continuum. And this drops continuum, really, we use this as a way to indicate the path that most utilities are on of moving away from paper-based workflows to the self-driving automated utility of the future. With the topic we're talking about today, we're really kind of all over the first couple of steps here with, digital, real-time, and optimized, right? 811 is all about sort of this process of very quickly being able to go into your locates without the need for these paper sheets out in the field and calling out there and all that sort of thing. And we're really driving towards the S there at the end of self-driving and automation. The real key to what we're going to show you today is how much of this can be automated with the 811 integration that Sedaru offers. Today we're going to do a bit of an overview of the topic we're going to be covering. We'll talk a little bit about sort of the current 811 workflow and what that looks like in a non-digital world, and then talk you through sort of how Sedaru solves those different issues and pain points and concerns that are out there with the use of our operations management network intelligence platform and our field force work order and data collection solution out in the field. So we're going to talk through a little bit of the overall, then we'll give you guys a demonstration. And then we'll have some time for question and answer session at the end. So with that, I'm going to introduce you to Kevin Koshko, let him introduce himself a little bit, and then we'll get started.
All right. Thank you, Dylan. Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining. I'm Kevin Koshko. I serve as the head of products here at Sedaru. So I work with utilities. I work with our customers, defining what everyone needs as far as different pain points and solutions. And then I work with our R&D, engineering, and development team to build that out. So very excited to be sharing the 811 solution with you guys today. For a lot of you guys, it depends on your state, your geography of which 811 system that you guys have. In California, we have Dig Alert, and we have Call It Before You Dig in Connecticut. You have Dig Safe in New England. So there's a number of different entities, and we'll walk through how Sedaru can help you automate your 811 process and really just generally make life a heck of a lot easier as it pertains to ticket management within your utility.
Yeah, so Kevin, I mean, generally, 811 tickets, they're dispatched out from the one call center, and there's a pretty high volume of sort of general tickets and coming through the pipeline, but there's also emergency tickets. And I know a lot of times there's some uncertainty as to which tickets are in your jurisdiction, which are your responsibility to locate. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty common challenge that utilities are faced with, where you have a lot of incoming tickets. Some are normal priority, some are emergency, some are rush, some are renew, repeat tickets. So trying to manage all that and to prioritize those when you're just getting blasted with emails or a stack of paper tickets to kind of go through, and then processing all of that, figuring out where they're at. Are they in my service area or not? Are they next to utilities or not? And then trying to manage, if you have several locators or even just one, the process of trying to figure out which ones they need to go to first, next, and so on. So within Sedaru, having the ability to as those tickets come in, get processed into a visual GIS-based view, and then able to easily dispatch those based on priority, based on geography of where the team's at. So a lot of help goes into this platform to support that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I know like I've kind of been out there with some of the operators and they're doing this, and there's often a lot of steps involved. You got to do the actual verification in the field, but you also have to mark everything. There's paperwork, there's pictures that are required. So there's a lot of different steps that aren't necessarily, super easy for the field guys to do all the way through, right? There's some marrying up of documentation and pictures at the end as well.
Yep. Yeah, and that's kind of the thing where, yeah, you have like separate photos taken, you have comments about the locator, the markup, and then also any sort of positive response that your organization or one call center may require. So yeah, kind of that combination and putting it all into one platform, and then while you're out in the field actually doing the locate, making it very easy for you to get to the locate area, enter in some information about it, mark what your response code is, take some photos, comments, and be done with it. So there's, a lot of automation that's supported there.
Cool. Well, it sounds like maybe we should go take a look at this, the product, and see how Sedaru is going to help us with this process.
Yeah, sounds like a plan. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share screen here, and go ahead and just confirm that you can see my screen okay.
It's coming through right now. Looks good to me.
All right, perfect. All right, so behold Sedaru Omni. So this is your office kind of dispatch supervisor view of everything that's going on within the utility. So for those of you who have Sedaru or have used Sedaru, Omni is designed to incorporate a lot of different assets into a single view here. So not only am I looking at tickets, but I can also see other events that might be taking place. This example has outage areas. So if there's like leak events that are taking place, hydrant work orders that are going on nearby, valve work orders, customer service requests. So it's a universal platform that can bring in all of these components in one place. Of course, you can always kind of focus in to just those key things that you're worrying about. And in this case, we're going to focus really specifically on 811 ticket management. So if I look at my first tile up here, this is showing me our 4 new emergency or non-emergency 811 tickets. And these tiles can be based on any number of metrics that we want to keep track of. So we have 8 that are assigned. We have 4 that are assigned non-emergency, 5 closed ones over the last week, and then we can kind of set those up however we want. So when I click on here, that's going to show me the items in the list, and you can see that I have a bunch of other things going on, right? There's a lot of map symbols here. That's because it's sharing all the different assets that are potentially tied in with the work that I'm doing. Now, if I want to just kind of, simplify things, now I've just updated it, so it's just focusing on those 4 non-emergency 811 tickets for me to look at here. So what I can do is actually select the ones that I want to assign here. So we have 4 that came in. So firstly, how did these tickets get into my map, right? So first and foremost, when we set you up with Sedaru for 811, we will, through the ticket management company or one call center, we're going to set up a transmission of getting those emails. And then what we do is we parse those out. The email comes in, and then we put it into a geography, geometric shape of the area of the locate, as well as all of the attributes of that ticket. And that's what we're seeing here. So we actually see 4 different locations here. I have 3 of those selected, because what I'm going to do is, depending on where my locators are, I have a locator that's kind of dedicated to the southern end of the system here, and the person that's working on the west side, I'm going to set a different ticket assigned to them. So with these 3 selected, I can kind of drill into those, and I can look at some of the details. By default, when a ticket gets created, we create a Sedaru work order for that ticket. And then it's up to the user to actually go in and say, okay, well, who do I want to assign it to? Are there additional comments that I want to make? And then, of course, I can dive into the actual ticket information as well. So with all of this, this is all the information that came from the ticket, and now it's getting parsed into a nice GIS database format. So here's that full ticket that we saw, basically, you know, the ticket text that comes in, but then we take all of these fields and put them into, you know, a kind of, you know, nicely organized set of fields and attributes as well. All right.
That's certainly a lot easier than having to read through all those emails, Kevin.
I would agree. And then, you know, as the emails come in, they just pop right on the map here. So we know, obviously, that these items here, there could be, you know, a potential conflict. So we are going to want to go out and mark the area out. So for this, we have these three selected because this is where our locator in the southern half of the district is focusing on. And I'm going to click this little men working symbol to go ahead and assign that. And I'm going to assign that to me. And if I wanted to, I can give it to several other folks. So if I wanted to give it to a team of people that were out there, I could easily do that here. So I'm going to assign that to myself. And then also if Matt or someone else wants to pick that up while they're there, they can do that too. So from there, being able to go that status, I can give that a priority depending on how it came in. If it was an emergency ticket, that would show up as well. So it's going to give me a confirmation. Okay, are you sure you want to save those three? I will say yes. And so now those tickets have been added to my field force application. So when we jump into the field, which will show in just a moment, that's where the locator will actually have the ability to see those work orders, see those locates, and be able to take action and enter in all the data for those. All right. So within the Omni view, just as reference, you know, we can always go in, we can look at, drill into the details here. So if I'm looking at, you know, any sort of tickets that I want to get a closer look at, you know, I can zoom in. Here was that, that geometry that comes in from the ticket locate. So we're able to see kind of those outlines as they come in from the one call center. So that's going to give us a good bearing of what we can expect when we're out doing the ticket. And now that we have that work order assigned, I'm going to jump into Field Force so we can take a look at what the locator sees.
Awesome. And guys, you know, just a reminder that we would love to take some questions at the end. So there should be a Q&A symbol in the little toolbar from Zoom, and go ahead and enter some questions there, and we'll try and address those at the end.
Great. All right. So let me go ahead and jump into my device here. So what we're going to look at first is showing it on the phone. I feel like the phone is a great device to be using this for 811 locates. You have access to a map if you need to. And if I click on my three, if you recall, we had the three work orders that we assigned. Now here they are on the map. The green one represents one that I had completed earlier. So I can have, you know, full map access, but I can also get right into my list as well. So these are the active big ticket work orders that I have assigned. And then just as simple as clicking on that, that will drill into the ticket, and then I can access all of that detail here. So any sort of ticket text, I can look at the original ticket. If I want to, I can have all of the details parsed out here. And then of course I have the map of the area, and here we can see those locate boundaries in there as well. What's nice is as I'm out there, you know, there's a lot of flexibility in how I want to view things. So, you know, we have a handful of different tools. I can jump to my, I can go offline if I need to. I can also click and look at my layer visibility as well. I can change my base map. So if I'm wanting to use, you know, another kind of landmark here, now I can, you know, turn on my aerial photos. I can, you know, if I'm doing, you know, it's dark outside or need to do, you know, some night work, I can easily go in and change that to kind of a, you know, streets, you know, night view to, you know, kind of have that darker background. Maybe I can see things pop a little bit better. So yeah, so a lot of flexibility in how you want to view the data. And then also some nice tools while we're out there as well. So here's the locate. I also have access to something like a measure tool here. So I can basically click on from the pipe itself. And I want to say, okay, what's the distance between here and the mark out area? So here we can see that 63 feet that's associated with that. And then I have the ability to kind of, make an area to, if I'm trying to find out measurements to and from some of the utilities and lines within our mark out area. But let's go ahead and start doing our work here. So we have our ticket locate on Pomona Street. I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to go ahead and hit start. So with this is going to take me to my simple form. So I go out there, and then the first thing it's going to ask is, okay, well, what's the response? And since this is a example of California SoCal Dig Alert, these are the response codes that are associated with those. If I was in Colorado, that's going to have a separate set of response codes and so on. So just depending on your 811 center, you'll have a different set of codes here that you can use. And with this, I'm just going to say, this was a clear, there was no conflict. If there was, I'd be able to say, okay, locate area marked. Actually, in this case, there was some nearby utilities, so we'll put that in there. And then we also have options for photos. So I can take a photo, directly with my device, and just pull it from the camera or the image library here. So we'll go ahead and add, this photo as part of that. And then I have, maybe a second photo that we want to add. So, mark out 1, mark out 2. So now we have these associated with it. Any sort of comments that I wanted to make, I can easily add that here. And then of course our completed date, that can default to right now, and then I can move on to my next step. So ultra straightforward, definitely designed to be not a huge training learning curve. Just get in there, mark up the area, enter in your response, date, and be done. In addition to that, if you wanted to optionally, you can add additional steps here to include in like time, material, equipment. So, if I spent, an hour out here doing the locate, if I wanted to track the materials that I used, marking paint, flags, or other, I can incorporate that. The vehicles that I use, so, here's the license plate of the vehicle that I was out at. So I can incorporate, any sort of additional, details here that allow me to track my costs and materials and equipment associated with that. So, all right. So with that done, I go ahead and hit save. And now we can see that icon turns green. We went from 3 work orders to 2, and now I can easily see those on the map here. So once I'm ready, I can move on to my next locate just right up the street and mark that ticket done as well.
And Kevin,
So,
if these have been dispatched out to multiple people like you showed, right, those icons will be changing on your device as well if, say, Matt had completed another one of these tickets.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So it's nice. I mean, depending on, if you have several people kind of working on the same, same set of tickets, if they're all assigned to, a group of folks, as soon as Matt completed his, that would turn green directly on my iPad here. So, works out well. Another thing that's, would be good to see is, another form factor here. So if I'm looking at like the iPad, for example, here's where you can have, the ticket plus, any sort of additional, the map and all of it in one view. This is an example of Laguna Beach County Water District. They've done some really cool things with, they manage quite a bit of tickets, and they have a really great streamlined process. They've done some really cool things with the customization of the experience. Within Sedaru, we offer an application called Sedaru Studio, which allows you to really define, what your forms look like. If you want to add, personal touches to, how the user experience is, it makes it very easy for any user to go in and build that out. So it's not something that requires Sedaru, to do all the work for you. We'll set it up, we'll get you going, and then you can easily add, any sort of configured customization to your own platform, which is great. All right. So, but yeah, I wanted to show you, a few of these examples. It's just really cool to see kind of the number of work orders that they've done, and how they have their setup. So, they're using iPads, but again, you can use, phone, large device. You can use Windows tablets. So super flexible as far as what you'd like to use in the field and how you want to do your locates. All right, so I want to jump back and kind of speaking of our Laguna Beach customer that we had seen. So they have broken up theirs into several different categories as well. So if we look at their example here, they have their assigned non-emergency tickets. They have their closed tickets that they're keeping track of, and then they have different categories where based on the response code, if they were unable to locate or mark it, if they wanted to have resend ticket requests, partially marked, meeting on site required with the contractor. So all of that as necessary, you can easily get in there and then, categorize these different tickets as needed. So they got it all pretty well dialed in. What's also nice though is, once we have all of our tickets done, when we're doing our work, we can easily go in and do some things like trending, reporting based on that. So from here, jumping into my trend view, and then based on this, okay, well, here's our, over the last, couple weeks, what have our closed tickets looked like? And I can go in, I have this nice stock market style view where I can say, okay, well, over the last month, how's our performance been? This looks good. All right, how about quarterly? So, easily able to get to that data. And it's nice because you can really kind of take inventory of, how well we're doing out there. So we have like our high, our average, our low. So, knowing that, okay, well, over the last 1 week, we've been averaging, almost 12 tickets a day versus, over the course of a year, maybe that's, averages out to be a little lower. But, having all of these data points to utilize makes it really powerful and helpful. And then I can simply hit create report. I can throw that into an Excel doc. And now I have that as, kind of covering bases if there's anything else required. And then you can also see these additional metrics here of like, okay, well, this is, 141% improvement from year prior. And then each of those are broken down. So like, based on the 3 months, this is 56% improvement from the 3 months before and so on. So, keeping track of the work, making it very easy to get access to that. And then what I also like about it is just the ability to, once the work's been done, so we can see that, okay, here's the work that was assigned, and then I can jump into, any sort of things with the location, zooming into that as needed, and then just getting into those details. So, anything that was done to it, now I have that, kind of that full list of items that were done. It was closed, here's that locate, and then, diving in as necessary. So, makes it very, straightforward to get to. So let me see, what should we have? Oh, positive response, right? So that was another important item here. So when we have our work order here, so here was that work order key. So this was, what the one call center has sent to us, and then all the information that we had entered in, attachments as well. So the photos of the markup, these are now all available for us. So I can see that at a glance, which makes it nice. And then we can easily get in and say, okay, well, based on this work order, I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to paste it into my positive response. We're going to just verify. So we don't have to go into positive response and set it. What we're doing here is Sedaru has already entered in the positive response for us. Now we're just going to inquire, make sure that it actually went through. So here we can see, all right, so we're going to Beach County Water District. The locate area was marked. We got our response code, the description, the response date, who it was by, if there was any comments that would show up. And see, when you're using Sedaru, look at all these slackers haven't been responding, but Sedaru just makes it so easy. So, as usual, they're the first to go out and get that done. So pretty cool to see. But yeah, it's being able to easily do that positive response automation and get your data immediately.
Awesome, Kevin. And then, Kevin, just to make sure, right, positive response is not a nationwide implementation yet, right, across all the different organizations that do this. This is a little bit of a patchwork or state by state.
It is, yeah. There's some that don't require it. I believe DigSafe in New England doesn't have a positive response requirement. California just started, so it's been an option for a while, but now it's actually being mandated. So we have a bunch of utilities that are using Sedaru for for Dig Alert for USA North. You know, it's great that we have those, you know, that positive response working and rocking. So,
yeah, I mean, the positive response has a forgive the pun, a positive impact on the utility as well, right? Because there's fewer, you know, resent tickets, there's fewer people being dispatched to the same location, right? It's much more clear what has been done and what has not.
It is, yeah, and it's just, you know, I think from the 811 center really appreciates it because you're, you know, you're ultra responsive. It's a lot less stressful for emergency tickets because the moment you do it, it's back into, you know, 811 center, so they're not driving you nuts with, you know, wondering where everything's at. So yeah, it's just, you know, it works out really well. And, you know, the nice thing is from a user's perspective, all they do is just, they go out, they'll fill out the form in Fieldforce and then hit save, and it just, you know, does it automatically, which is really nice.
Cool. Well, Kevin, we do have a couple questions, but I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to show before we got to that.
No, that was it. I, you know, wanted to make sure that we talked about how the tickets came in, being able to dispatch those based on kind of geography and, you know, where your team's at, showing out in the Fieldforce app how a user could go in and actually perform the locate, mark it up, and then enter in the data. And then, of course, coming back to AMI to see the work that's been done, to see all of the details that are entered in there, and then, of course, verifying positive response. So.
Awesome. I'll let you keep screen control just for a minute, Kevin, in case there's anything you want to show. I got a couple questions here. So the first question is, does the system automatically create the area that needs locating services based on the ticket request? In other words, the geometry there, it looks like.
It does, yeah. So depending on, you know, what that is. So here we can see in this example, this locate was covering from basically, you know, this part of the block, from this address, from address to address here. So it will create, you know, from that ticket locate, the polygon based on that. Now there's some one call centers that don't have any sort of map-based technology to allow that. So DigSafe up in New England, for example, they just have like a straight text email that comes through. I think their one call center is like old school green screen, you know, like, you know, tickets. So they just get a very kind of plain text email, but it does have an address, and then Sedaru will actually do some geocoding to get an actual address point and then expand that out to create a locate area. So if your one call center doesn't support like a polygon or like a location based attribute as part of the ticket, Sedaru can do it for you, which is really nice.
Wonderful. Okay. Looks like we got a let's see. Oh, perfect. Okay. So it looks like someone's asking about a specific dig alert system, MISS dig. Is that Mississippi?
I think that's actually Michigan. Is that,
okay.
Yeah. So with that, so we have about 4 that we've hooked into up to this point. So, you know, there's a few other one call centers that are in the works for us to integrate with. So yeah, there's definitely an opportunity to incorporate with MISDig as appropriate. So.
Okay. Yeah, there's a follow on there. We're just about whether we would complete the ticket on their end or our end, and my assumption is once we put that integration in place, it would be working.
Yeah,
awesome.
Absolutely.
Okay. Can Sedaru configure to auto assign tickets based on, it looks like an assigned area or a geographic area?
Yes. So that's actually you know, something where we saw in the example where we had dispatched, we saw that there was 4 open tickets. We gave 3 of them to one of the person, and then the one on the west side of the district, you know, we didn't send that out. We are working on something now where basically once the ticket comes in, you can define geographic areas. So the moment the ticket comes in, it automatically creates a work order and assigns it to that person within that grid or polygon, whatever you designate. So you can create your own kind of assignment areas. And then once the ticket falls in there, it'll automatically assign it for you. And that will be coming very soon. So.
Wonderful. Very cool. All right, so there's another one here. It was a question about how does Sedaru notify the user a new ticket has come into the system? My understanding is that's automated based on those emails, right?
Correct. Yeah. So there's, the email comes in and you'll still get an email, that still comes in. So, you have that as reference, but the notification is typically done through OmniCure. So, anytime a new ticket comes in, this tile will flip over, and kind of show, and then you can kind of acknowledge that, that new ticket that came in, and then you can kind of view that here. So, it's basically the moment they come in, these tiles are going to be monitoring, those tickets.
Wonderful. Okay. And then it looks like just one more here. Is there an ability to have the photos sent to the contractor's email showing that the location request is complete?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, the images are all going to be part of the, attached to the actual ticket itself. So I don't see any reason why you wouldn't be able to send those along or forward those along to the contractor as well. Within each ticket, you're going to have contractor contact info. You'll have the email. There's no automation where it'll just automatically send it off, but you're going to have the info right there where you can basically kind of get into the ticket. You can copy and paste, the attributes of, who the customer name was, and if you have their contact information as part of that ticket, you can easily go in there. So here, e-price at Petra Inc. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste that in, and then, based on the output that we get, the attachments, once you have those attachments in there, then we can incorporate and include those. Basically, save that attachment, send it off in the email, and off you go. So it's actually a pretty, everything's in one place. You can easily do that. So
yeah, without having to go back to the office and print and all that kind of stuff. That's pretty fantastic.
Yep. Yep.
Well, it looks like we're just about out of time, Kevin. We do have a couple of unanswered questions, but we'll try and respond to those offline. Appreciate the interest, and more than happy to, if anyone's interested in seeing more of this or some of the finer details, we're always happy to do a product demonstration for someone. But appreciate everyone's time today. Definitely feel like it was a good topic for us to cover, with some of the changes with California now requiring the positive response. And, looks like something that would really help people out quite a bit here in terms of automating the process and making it a more seamless experience.
Yeah, thank you, Dylan. And yeah, thanks to everyone who took some time out of your day to check this out. And as Dylan said, we're happy to share more detail with you guys. If you guys wanted to have a personal demonstration for your utility and your team, we're happy to support that for you. So thanks again.
Wonderful. And thank you, as always, Kevin, for a great demo today. For those of you out there who have attended in the past, we'd always love feedback on new topics you'd like us to discuss. We're actively planning for a series of webinars over the early fall here, hoping to increase the frequency and the topics that we cover. So look forward to seeing you guys on a future webinar, and hope everyone has a great day.
All right. See you next time. Thanks, guys.